Objective. After listening to this lecture, you'll be able to describe the model of stress and the incredible power of the mind-body connection.
The mind-body connection. Imagine a surfer sitting on his surfboard waiting for what looks like to be the perfect wave. He rolls onto his belly and begins paddling towards the wave. The wave continues to build as it moves towards him, and he feels excited about being in the perfect position to catch it. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, he catches a glimpse of what looks like a fin of a fish, a big fin of a big fish. He realizes he's not the only one riding the waves today. The fear that the surfer is feeling instantaneously transfers to his body. Although this image is fake, can you imagine how the surfer might be feeling? What do you think is happening to his body as he notices the shark? Exactly what physiological reactions is the fear causing? It's been said that it is ultimately the body that remains the battlefield for the war games of the mind. This is an incredibly accurate description of the mind-body connection. Many people know that stress is bad or unhealthy, but they don't understand the extent to which stress or distress is unhealthy, nor do they understand how strong the mind-body connection is. Your mind and body are so interconnected that it's difficult sometimes to separate the two. We now know, for example, that psychological addiction can be just as real and just as strong as physiological addiction. Our minds, thoughts, and our physiology are extremely tied together. In other words, our thoughts, to a very large extent, determine what goes on inside our bodies. Positive thoughts produce positive physiological reactions, and negative thoughts produce negative physiological reactions. Model of stress. What exactly happens when you encounter a stressor? The model of stress helps explain a chain of events, and it somewhat corresponds to the components of stress that we talked about in the last lecture. First, you encounter a stressor or a life event. Running late, getting stuck in traffic, wanting to confront an idiot boss, giving a presentation in front of a large group of people, losing your car keys, getting into an argument with someone, having to take a very difficult test, not being able to pay your bills, being overweight, or living with another chronic health condition, etc. Then your thoughts and perceptions come into play. In other words, a cognitive appraisal is made. Is the stressor bad? And if so, how bad is it? Then you experience feelings and emotions based on those thoughts: anger, irritation, frustration, sadness, despair. So after thinking something, you feel it. Thoughts determine feelings. Then your body reacts to your emotions. It's thought that every single emotion produces a physiological change at the cellular level. So your body responds to your feelings and emotions. Have you heard of someone who is able to lift a car off someone? This person was able to do that because his or her body was going through the stress response, which provides increased power, speed, and strength to either run away or fight something. That's how powerful the stress response can be. Then after so long of feeling stressed, you experience health consequences. The first 4 stages of the model of stress occur in succession very rapidly. The final stage of the model of stress occurs over time, after weeks or months of experiencing physiological responses associated with stress. Your body can only take so long of experiencing those physiological changes associated with stress. So what are those physiological changes? What exactly happens to your body each and every time you stress out? In a nutshell, your body becomes stronger and faster and more powerful because blood is diverted from less vital organs such as your stomach and intestines to more vital organs such as your arms and legs, so you can either fight or run away. Heart rate increases to supply more blood quickly. You have to have the blood pumping faster throughout your body in order to exhibit increased strength. Blood pressure increases in order to supply blood efficiently. Respiratory rate increases in order to get more oxygen to your body. And glycogen, which is basically sugar that is stored in the liver and muscles, is released into your bloodstream in the form of glucose. This is the fastest and most easily available form of energy. So a person actually becomes physically stronger, faster, and more powerful when under stress. The body prepares itself to run away or fight. These physiological changes are called the fight or flight response. Our stressors today are not of a physical nature and therefore do not require increased speed, power, or strength. That's why stress is so unhealthy. Our bodies become prepared to fight or run away and we don't. That's why exercise is one of the best techniques to cope with stress, because we need those physiological reactions in order to exercise. In other words, we use up the byproducts of stress when we exercise. When you're stressing about being stuck in traffic or being in debt or studying for that test that's worth a huge part of your grade, you don't use up the byproducts of stress. So here's the million-dollar question. Is learning to effectively manage your stress just as important as eating healthy foods and exercising? In order to answer this question, let's first discuss just how unhealthy it is to have a body that's constantly going through the stress response. It's estimated that between 75 to 90% of all visits to primary care physicians are for stress-related problems, which is no surprise because up to 90% of all disease and illness is related to stress. So stress may not necessarily be the sole cause of the condition, but it exacerbates or precipitates the condition, everything from the common cold to cancer. And stress affects every single system in your body. In other words, there's not one area of your body that's not affected by stress. Your entire body is affected by stress. Another indicator that stress is just as important as diet and exercise is the estimated costs associated with the workplace. Healthcare costs, absenteeism rates, the number of times employees call in sick, presenteeism, which refers to employees who come to work but they're not productive, accidents on the job, etc., are among the many types of factors that cause employers to lose money due to their stressed employees. It costs employers to employ an overweight person approximately $4,000 more per person than a normal weight person. It costs employers to employ a smoker approximately $6,000 more per person than a non-smoker. It costs employers to employ a stressed employee $8,000 more per person than a relatively non-stressed employee or an employee who might be stressed but knows how to handle stress well. So going back to the question, is learning how to manage stress just as important as eating right and exercising? Yes, absolutely. Key points. There most definitely is a very strong mind-body connection. Positive thoughts produce positive physiological reactions, and negative thoughts produce negative physiological reactions. The model of stress goes like this. First, you encounter a stressor. Then your thoughts about that stressor come into play. Then your emotions tied to those thoughts come into play. Then you might have behavioral reactions, and then several physiological changes occur when we're stressed. These physiological changes make us stronger, faster, and more powerful. That sounds like a good thing, but it's not, because our stressors don't require us to be stronger, faster, and more powerful. And that's it.